Welcome back to Be Happy Dammit with me, Karen Salmansohn, your host here on Lyme, Healthy Living with a Twist on Sirius Satellite Radio, Channel 114. And as you know, I like to begin every morning by having you write your to-be list instead of your to-do list. I know a lot of you start off writing your to-do list, but I'm a big believer that who you are will affect how much you get done on your to-do list, and what to pluck out as a high priority action on your to-do list. What you know you stand for and what you won't stand for. Your identity affects your actions. Your attitude affects your destiny. So, but I take it easy on you. I only make you write one to-be to focus on a day. And I always make my guests bring me my to-be. So my guest for today is Dr. Mark Goulston, who I have in studio, who's the author of Get Out of Your Own Way, Get Out of Your Own Way at Work, and a new book, Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder for Dummies. So I've asked him to bring me my to-be for today. And what is the to-be that you've brought me?
To be regret-free.
To be regret-free. I like that. I like that. Okay, now, what do you mean? Now, I have some thoughts on what regret is. For you, what is the idea to live a regret-free life? What does that mean to you?
Well, I make a distinction between tragedies and calamities. A calamity is unavoidable. Floods, fires now in Los Angeles, wars, unfortunately, and many of them seem unavoidable. That makes them a calamity. But a tragedy is something that could have been avoided. That's what makes Romeo and Juliet a tragedy. And one of the greatest tragedies in life is getting to the end of your life and looking back and realizing it was mediocre and it didn't have to be that way.
I definitely agree with that. Regret keeps you stuck in the same place. Regret is pain relived instead of pain relieved. And I think instead of spending all our time regretting, we should focus on getting like the lessons out of everything bad that happens to us. You know, I renamed failure as fuller because I'm always looking at how I can fill it up with lessons. And one of my big philosophies on life is like 20% thinking about the problem. No, you have a problem. You don't want to be in complete denial. But then 80% thinking about the solution. You know, so, I mean, that's some of my first thought philosophies on how to live a regret-free life. How does that relate to some of your books on Get Out of Your Own Way?
Well, I think that segues into them nicely because a lot of times people don't want to admit that they've made a mistake because many people are afraid, gee, as right as I thought I was is as wrong as I turned out to be. Maybe I'm wrong about everything. So a lot of people don't want to let a little mistake in and a little doubt in because they're afraid it's going to metastasize through them and they're going to have self-doubt.
Right.
And they're going to doubt everything they did. Now, one of the reasons I wrote Get Out of Your Own Way and the sequel is that we all, every day, do things to make ourselves feel better for the moment. So we're always coping with stress. The problem is what we do that makes us feel better for the moment often messes up our life. So if we shoot from the hip, we'll often shoot ourselves in the foot and mess up our life. And so the whole goal is to be able to is to realize that you've made a mistake. And one of the tools that I recommend in both my books is something I call the Never Again tool.
Okay, I like that. Tell me about that.
And the Never Again tool is next time you are laying face down in the consequence of one of those self-defeating behaviors. You procrastinated, you blew someone off, you got angry at a certain person that you shouldn't have, and you should have been more thoughtful. Instead of beating yourself up, blaming them, feeling sorry for yourself, take out an index card and write down, if I had this to do over again, what I would do differently is what. Because when you're in the moment of laying face down in that negative consequence, that's when you have maximum pain.
That's true. Well, actually, crisis pain is sometimes the kick in the butt people need to change their life for the better.
Absolutely. And if you don't take advantage of it right then and there, a day later or 2 days later, it'll ease away and you won't learn that valuable lesson from that mistake.
That. It's instead of thinking regret, think get. What can you get out of this? You know? And think long-term instead of short-term. I think in the moment people are in such pain, they don't think about the long-term benefits of it. You know?
Well, something that really helps, I find, is to really be inspired by something. And there's a formula that a friend of mine, Bruce Wright, W-R-I-G-H-T, you can check him out on the internet, came up with. And the formula, so that you learn the right lessons and put them into play, is vision, commitment, goals, strategies, tactics, tools. Vision, commitment, goals, strategies, tactics, tools. And what I realized is any of the major accomplishments I've made in life have always followed that formula. I'll give you for instance. When my 25-year-old was 3 months old, I was holding her in my lap, and she was staring up at me with this incredible trust, not unlike the way you're looking at me.
Oh, yes.
There you go. And it was this unbelievable trust. And I realized that when she got to be 20, if she looked into my eyes the same way, she would be disappointed at me. And the reason she would be disappointed in me is because I was disappointed in me because I stayed in my comfort zone.
Right.
And I gave in to my fears. And as I was looking into her eyes and your eyes, I said to myself, I can't do that to her when she becomes 20. And so I had a clear vision when she was going to become 20.
So you were focusing on the future. Sometimes that helps to play this out to the end goal. It's like, you begin with the ends in mind. You know, that helps.
That's what the vision is. I mean, instead of looking back, looking forward.
Right.
And so I had a clear vision that I wanted to see her being proud of me instead of embarrassed by me.
You know, you just said something that reminds me of a very good tip also, because I like to say we on Be Happy Dammit are more than just a talk show or an action show. And a quick tip, while I'm remembering it, is whenever you think about something that you regret, to think about the word forward. Forward. So you aim your vision as you're talking about it forward. Like, that's just a quickie one, just to throw it in there. You know, you're thinking about, oh, why did I date that? No, you stop yourself with a single word, forward. And that aims you towards the vision.
Well, something I say to myself, because I can sometimes be firm with myself, I say, if you don't come up with a solution now, Mark, you're whining.
Oh, that's good.
And I don't like whiners, and I can be an A-class #1 whiner, so I didn't like that. But what's important about that vision, actually seeing something and seeing something happen, which is different than wanting to feel happy or wanting to feel better. When you actually see something, the second step, which is commitment to action, automatically happens. But the vision has to be clear. So that vision was so clear that I wanted to see my daughter being proud of me. So the commitment was, I'm going to take action. And I asked myself, what am I most afraid of? And what I was most afraid of was being on the spot, humiliating myself, or being ridiculed. And so part of what I did is I then set goals to put myself in front of audiences that wouldn't be critical of me, because I was still afraid of that. And then gradually over the years, more and more critical audiences. Then I started charging more and more money.
And then you came on a radio show, and look at you now.
And there you go. And so those are the goals. And just quickly, the strategy is I joined National Speakers Association and Toastmasters because I wanted to learn about how to become a speaker. The tactics are, I watch speakers and I watch what they do and what they don't do. And then finally, the tools are, well, okay, I might be all set up to speak, but if nobody contacts me, I'm going to be like that tree in the desert that doesn't make a sound. So I started writing articles and books, because that way people might read something and say, this guy has something interesting to say. Let's see if he gives talks.
So if you make something that you regret stand for the opportunity to change your life forever. I actually, when I coach people, I talk about turning your tale of woe into a tale of wow. And whenever something bad happens to me, I think, I'm going to make this is the inciting incident, where you make up your mind that this is going to stand for a life change that you're going to make forever. So, Mark, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you didn't regret coming on the show.
My pleasure, and it sounds like your pleasure.
Absolutely. Dr. Mark Goulston, author of Get Out of Your Own Way, Post-Traumatic Stress Disorders for Dummies, and Get Out of Your Own Way at Work, here on Lyme, Healthy Living with a Twist on Sirius Satellite Radio, Channel 114.